The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 19th day of August, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Maya Palacio in a bit. So, you all had a long weekend. How's everyone feeling today? How was your long weekend from us? Did you do anything fun? I must say a big shout out and congratulations to the boys from Harris Bay to Devil's Hill, Cleveland County Cricket Club. Defeated my Bayless Bay in the second round of the Eastern Counties Cup to party down in Harrington Sound area all night on Saturday. So congratulations to them. And I'll address the whole controversy a bit later that happened down there. But I keep feeling like I repeat myself. And I will keep repeating myself until we all understand one thing. As much as we want things to always go in our favor, we have to come to grips and understand that they will not always go in our favor. Sometimes life, whatever it is, requires a bit of luck. And I think a lot of people forget that. I think it was either Jose Mourinho or Sir Alex Ferguson, football managers in Europe, stating, to win the Champions League, to be crowned the champions of Europe, sometimes it takes a bit of luck. It's knockout tournament, right? It's that any given Sunday thing. So I'll touch on that a bit later. But I hope everyone's feeling good. Welcome back. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we're going to discuss the government's announcement about a medical tourism facility. The daily play is going to be a remember when. So you have your thinking caps on. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Question of the morning is, how do you feel about government's announcement of a new medical tourism facility? How do you feel about government's announcement of a new medical tourism facility? And just a quick yes or no, are you in favor of a medical tourism facility in Bermuda? So if you didn't know, last week, the government of Bermuda, there was Premier David Burt, along with a few others. And basically, folks, there was an announcement that Bermuda is going to be welcoming a world-class medical tourism facility. So Premier Burt was flanked by Wayne Furbert, the Junior Minister of Finance, Lou Maroon, I think he pronounced his name, the chairman and founder of Medical Concepts Consulting Management, Michael Warren, the company's executive chairman, Louis Demaris, its chief executive, and Scott Pierman, the chief executive of the Bermuda Hospitals Board. So here are some key things that you want to know. So the MoU, a Memorandum of Understanding, was signed between the government of Bermuda and Medical Concepts Consulting Management. They're going to develop, the MOU is to develop a medical tourism facility, basically Bermuda International Healthcare Center. And it's right now they're planning to locate it at Morgan's Point. Now, Morgan's Point is pretty big, but I guess that means, no hotel. Premier Burt basically spoke about MCCM being internationally recognized with over 300 healthcare projects in 30 countries. And that the best part about this for me, audience, is that the Premier said this will proceed without any government funding or loans. Well, what concessions will they get? That's a question, right? The project aims to enhance local healthcare rather than compete with it, Premier Burt says, creating hundreds of jobs during construction, during operations across medicine, science, diagnostics, hospitality, technical trades, and support services. He said the first phase will include an intermediary state behavioral health center for mental health services, a medical hotel for patients and families, and ambulatory surgery center with advanced technology for same-day surgical. So I have a lot of questions. I don't know about you all. I have a lot of questions about this. Again, the questions of the morning: how do you feel about government's announcement of a new medical tourism facility? And are you in favor of a tourism facility in Bermuda? I have a lot of questions. Shika Reyna said, good morning. I like the idea of medical tourism. I do too. I mean, it was something it's something that's long overdue. I do. So I have some questions. My first question is about healthcare and the economic impact. How exactly will medical tourism work in Bermuda? Now, it's easy to say it'll boost hospitality and spend and training opportunities. But does the project come with the promise of enhanced access to services for residents? How can we ensure that locals, Bermudians, aren't going to be second in line? The other part is there any are there any safeguards in place for Bermuda in terms of, although there's not any government funds or any loans, let's say the project starts and doesn't complete, it isn't finished. Are there any safeguards in place? Another question I think we should have is transparency and oversight or accountability. Are there any government officials or anyone involved in this medical facility? I know that the estimates given in the news article on the Royal Gazette stated, there's no official completion timeline, but they suggested 3 to 4 years. What are the risk of delays or change in political priorities? I believe Shadow Minister Robin Tucker had expressed some concerns, calling attention to our current state at King Edward Memorial Hospital, cautioning that Bermudians shouldn't be and must not be relegated to second priority. I think these are questions that need to be answered. Medical tourism, Bermuda's not cheap. Who is this going to be for? The elite? I think these are valid questions. Again, I think it's something long overdue, but how does it work? I mean, I believe it was Cayman Islands. Bermuda was in talks over 20 years ago for something similar, and then it went and happened in the Cayman Islands. I think you all need to ask some questions about this. So again, how do you feel? How do you feel? What are your thoughts about the government's announcement of a new medical tourism facility? And just a quick yes or no, are you in favor of a medical tourism facility in Bermuda? We've got Kelly Clark Medeiros says lots of questions as well, hoping they consult with local providers at some point. Yeah, I agree. I think that's how you get community buy-in, right? That's how they're living up to their words about local creating jobs for locals and opportunities, right? So let's discuss the potential benefits of medical tourism versus the current strain on local healthcare services. How does that balance? Right now, you see people screaming, like crying, because of the state of our hospital. How is it going to work for people coming into Bermuda? Every industry in Bermuda pretty much needs work permits. Bermuda's no longer in a position where the money looked better than elsewhere previously. Because years ago, you could pay someone $80,000, $90,000 in Bermuda and they could get by really fast. But the other problems about the housing crisis, you've got nurses coming to Bermuda thinking it's going to be great. And then when they can't find housing where they can afford to live and enjoy life, they want out. Are these problems going to be addressed? Because this sounds great on the surface. It's long overdue on the surface. Who's going to staff it? How much more are the treatments going to be at this medical facility? Governance and accountability, I mentioned. We have to explore transparency when these MoUs are signed. We need actual timelines. We want and need to know who's going to be overseeing the projects. What are the protections for the residents of Bermuda? See, the good stuff that was put out front says there's no government loans or funding. But what's in it? What's in it for MCCM? If it's one thing I've learned about business, audience, and there's one thing anyone in business will tell you, businesses are not charities. Businesses only do things that are going to help their bottom line. Even those things that look like charitable acts and community service, that is nothing more than PR and marketing in 2025. We need answers. And let me be clear, this is not me taking a shot at the government. These are just questions I believe we need answers to. I agreed then and now that medical tourism was it's something Bermuda should have considered long ago. I just need answers. We need answers. How does it work in Bermuda in 2025? I'm going to go to the audience. Again, how do you feel about government's announcement of a new medical tourism facility? And are you in favor of a new medical tourism facility? That's a yes or no. All right, so we've got Nicole Walker says, good morning. I think it's an interesting idea. However, when are they going to address the inefficiencies and inadequacies at KEMH that impacts locals every day? And I think that goes to ensuring that locals don't become second priority, as the Shadow Minister, Robin Tucker, said. Nicole Walker goes on to say, exactly, how does an international medical tourism facility benefit us outside of jobs? Well, I guess they're hoping that as people come, they spend money in the economy. But again, who are we targeting? You know, Sancha, our colleague Sancha on this show, you know what her number one question is when it comes to tourism? Who are we targeting? That's her question. And Sancha's the kind of person who's just going to ask that over and over and over until she gets an answer. But who are we targeting? Nicole Hassel says, no, not needed at all. We need homes and apartments for our people first. That's why I said earlier, where are the people who come to the island to work in this medical facility? Where are they going to live? We have nurses and people who are coming to work at our current hospital that cannot find housing. And it's not just the hospital. There are numerous industries in Bermuda where people are coming in thinking, oh, it's great, I'm going to be making this amount, it's going to be sunny, beautiful Bermuda. And then we get upset as Bermudians when we see them on social media talking about it's a nightmare. Some nightmares are true, folks. Anika DeShields, I'll read it from the side, very long. Keep them short, guys. I want to put your stuff on the screen. She says, how will it work with those needing urgent care when there are 90 beds? I missed the news, but maybe they will recover in hotels with dedicated medical care. Yes, they did say, let me just go through my notes, but they did mention that, Anika, they mentioned a facility, a medical hotel for patients and families. So they did mention a medical a hotel for patients and families. She also says, hopefully that care doesn't deplete the services at KEMH. A portion of those funds should be allocated for senior care / scholarships. The other concern with this is it's for profit, right? I'm sure it's for profit. It's not a nonprofit. And there's something that seems morally wrong about profiting off of people's ailments. Something seems morally wrong about profiting off of people's ailments. And I'm not saying that doctors shouldn't get paid or make money. I'm not saying that at all. They spend a lot of time in school and they study hard, and it's a lot. But it's like the prison system. It just seems morally wrong and unjust for people to make money off of others in situations where you need people in the prison to make it work. You need sick people. It just, when you think about it beyond the surface, it gets a little interesting. Kelly Clark Medeiros says, some laws will have to change if we are going to support modern treatments for mental health. Bermuda is a great option for medical tourism if we can liberate a bit. Indeed. Thank you for that. Suzanne Ingham says, I'll read it from the side, Bermuda needs another hospital, but I don't agree with just medical tourism. I am 100% against selling our country out. We are losing too much to foreigners buying and controlling our country. I am not in favor of this. This is a profit for foreigners only. I don't think they're being fully transparent here, okay? Transparency is an issue. We've got Charles H. Jeffers II. He says, question, once open, will this be under BHB? If not, how do we avoid staff moving between the two entities? Staffing is already an issue at BHB. Will this raise the overall cost of healthcare? Well, that is an excellent question, because as I read that the current chief executive officer of the Bermuda Hospital Board, our good friend Scott Pierman, was present at this at the announcement for the MoU. It makes you wonder, and that is a valid question, and these are questions that we need answers to, right? So thank you for that. How will it work? And I did speak to a couple of nurses that came to Bermuda. Again, Bermudians were on Twitter, going mad that someone was on TikTok, made a video of not being happy in Bermuda and the cost of living, not finding housing. And when I had a chat with them, like, even if they wanted to stay in Bermuda, they didn't want to stay at the hospital in particular. Now, if this is a separate entity, it will be competing with staff, but they can't leave the job because they're locked into the hospital for a certain amount of time. But that, Charles, raises valid questions. Valid questions. Will this new facility be offering better benefits if it's separate? if it's, a private entity that will take people away from our main hospital? There's a lot of questions, folks. And these questions are not to be critical of the government, because I think most, if not but all but one person, is in favor of a medical tourism facility. We just need answers. Will there be a town hall on this? I don't know if I read if there will be a town hall on any of this. I'd like to know. Also, as someone brought to my attention, the Minister of Health, maybe she's overseas on summer vacation, but she was not present at this presentation. Maybe she was overseas, but that's something interesting as well, right? Maybe it's all about the finances and not about the health. That's why the Minister of Finance and Junior Minister of Finance were there. I don't know. But these are questions we need answers to. Michael Daniels says, I would prefer to see a rehab center that would free up KMH to do tourism. Okay. Michelle White says medical tourism will benefit us with repeat visitors opportunities to increase tourism in general. Yeah, I think that's a pro. So, folks, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to, this is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. We got to play the news break. And after the news break, we'll continue this conversation, because I also want to touch on MoUs. Have you all done your research? Keep in mind, this is a memorandum of understanding. But I want to go back, right? We're going to take a look at MoUs. We'll continue the conversation about medical tourism. But are you all aware of the state of MoUs signed since July 2017? I didn't think you were. And for those of you who are, we'll discuss it after the news break. Let's show some love to Titan Express and Secure Trucking, and then we'll go to the news break with Maya Palacio.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All right, folks. If you haven't already, if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, or Instagram, do us a big favor right now, because these are very important community conversations that every last Bermudian should be a part of. Make sure you give us a like, a love, a follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues in WhatsApp groups, through text, whatever way you can, even email. But these conversations, everyone should be a part of. We're going to go to Maya Palacio for the Daily Hour news break. After that, I'm going to give you the days of the year. And I just have a quick little something to say regarding the coverage we had of the Bermuda Under-19 men's cricket team and what's going on in Bermuda as far as the violence.
Good morning. This is your Daily Hour news break, brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. A fresh school year means fresh possibilities. From snack time essentials to meal prep must-haves, People's Pharmacy has what every student needs. We help make it sustainable and reusable with a great selection of food containers. Now, kicking off to your news this morning. Southlands Park is once again at the center of public debate. What was expected to be a quiet consultation process has turned into a movement led by a young Bermudian determined to protect one of the island's most treasured green spaces. Last night, dozens gathered at Southlands for an impromptu event to sign a petition against any form of development inside the park. The push is being spearheaded by 25-year-old Nakor Astrid Rayner, who has already met with the Minister of Public Works.
And they were initially going to go through with the plans to put in a zip line and a cafe through the national park, but after significant public pushback, they have extended the deadline for us to give in our opinions on what to do with the park. When I sat down with the minister, one of the reasons he said that they were going through initially with the zip line was because of the lack of voices and opinions that they received on their very first proposal.
So far, about 350 submissions have been made to the government, the vast majority firmly against development inside the park. For context, most public consultations currently on the form.gov.bm page receive about 20 responses. Officials had said they hoped for 800 voices in order to make a decision. Rayner told us at the gathering last night that this is about more than just a park. It's about protecting Bermuda's natural heritage and species for future generations.
Southlands is intrinsic to our identity as Bermudians. Bermuda is a place that is known for its natural and wild beauty, and Southlands embodies that to its fullest. And to protect that as a Bermudian means to protect what it means to be a Bermudian. And that's what we need. We need places that are natural habitats for our plants, for our animals, and for people as well. It is a massive place for mental wellness, emotional wellness, for families, for you to be able to walk through and just feel safe and free away from all the struggles of urban society. That's what Southlands means.
And in your sports-related news, coming from the Junior Pan Am Games, our athletes continue to make history and show off on the world stage. Bermuda's Sebastian Kemp has sailed his way to silver at the Junior Pan Am Games in the one-person dinghy, marking another historic medal for Bermuda. With this win, Bermuda now boasts 2 medals at the Games. And looking into your weather, Hurricane Aaron's closest expected distance from Bermuda will be Thursday at around 310 nautical miles, so a far ways from us, but still expect tropical winds to affect Bermuda for about 24 hours.
Today, yellow flags are flying along our South Shore beaches. Red flag warnings are likely in the days ahead, which means absolutely no one should be in the water.
And that's your news break. Let's get back to the studio.
Alrighty, thank you so much for that, Maya. I just want to give a shout out to the under 14 ladies Bermuda national football team. They picked up a big victory against Trinidad 2-0. So big props to them doing a thing. I love to see it. I love to see it. Days of the year, folks, it's World Photography Day. World Photography Day. And I want to ask you, where do you believe is the best picture you can take of Bermuda? I know you all going to say, what's that place down by Clearwater? Not Turtle Cove or something like that. You know, all that. The place I've never been. But what's the most picturesque place in Bermuda? What's the most picturesque place in Bermuda? I honestly don't have one spot, man. I love like being over my boy Jadal's house, right? And up by this pool, taking the North Shore picture. And then even from my parents' house, just looking over scenic heights off there, like those are, I mean, especially when the sun's going down, the sunset. Bermuda has so many pictures. Blue Restaurant, I think it is. You can take nice shots from over there as well as the sunset is happening. I think it's Cambridge Beaches has a nice area where you can take beautiful pictures. But what do you think is the most picturesque place in Bermuda? Traveling Trotty says a picture from the lighthouse. Yeah, well, you can't go wrong from there. You can see everything. Well, almost everything. All right, folks. So most of you know, I recently had the privilege of supporting Bermuda's under-19 national cricket team at the ICC World Cup qualifiers. The results, well, they didn't always go our way. But the way those young men carried themselves, that's what matters. At a time when we're seeing violence in our community among their age group and poor sportsmanship in some corners, these young men stood tall, respectful, disciplined, united. They aren't the exception. They're the standard. I remember when I coached youth football, I used to say, I care more about the young players becoming productive citizens over growing up and winning the FA Cup in local football. And that's exactly what I saw in this team. Some may aspire to go pro, and I hope they do. But even if they don't, Bermuda needs their character. their leadership, their example. So I'd encourage you all not to just look at the final scores. Look at the young men who remind us of what's possible on the field and off it. It's them who can add extreme value to our community far beyond sport. Congratulations to the coaches, the managers, the parents, and of course the players of Bermuda's under-19 men's national cricket team. We'll take a quick break, come back. After this break, we'll continue the conversation. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Ready to take your financial game to the next level? HSBC is here to help you power up your financial fitness. Your strategy should be sharp and ready for anything, because luck won't get you to the top. Whether securing your future, growing wealth, or planning for life's next serve, HSBC's experts are here for you. From budgeting to investing, let's craft a plan as unique as your goals. Plus, get free financial planning consultations to stay on track. Learn more at hsbc.bm/financial planning. HSBC Bank Bermuda is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
96 degrees, real hot, oh yes.
Summer's heating up, but your home, it can chill. BAC is turning down the heat with 20% off Carrier X-Power mini split AC units. They're sleek, whisper quiet, and smart thanks to energy-saving inverter technology. New install, upgrade, doesn't matter. Just don't miss out. For a limited time, get 20% off when you pay with cash, credit, or debit.
96 degrees, real hot.
Swing by BAC on Mill Creek Road today.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Pair with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations on Hot 107.5. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. If you haven't already, if you are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, or Instagram, do us one big favor. It costs you nothing. Just give us a like, a love, a follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Just help us beat the algorithm so that as many people as you know have access to these most important community conversations as possible. Alrighty, let's get back to the conversation. Quite a few comments we've got to get to, but question of the morning we are asking is, how do you feel about government's announcement of a new medical tourism facility in Bermuda? And are you in favor? Just a yes or no. We haven't got a yes or no. Are you in favor of a new medical tourism facility? Are you in favor? We've got Rick Olson, he says, really should be called cosmetic, not medical, to not confuse the issue. Tell us why. Tell us why, Rick Olson. We've got Amari Simon says, I just hope this isn't a hotel project pretending to be a medical facility. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think we have an issue with transparency, and I think there are a lot of questions around this, right? That's one. What company is going to be developing, or what's the construction company? The projected jobs, Fairmont Southampton, I believe, is having a job fair or something soon coming up. But how many of these jobs are going to go to locals? And of those jobs that go to locals, are they going to be enough for them to be able to live and survive? There are a lot of questions. Michelle White says, however, new projects are like new toys. Get a new toy and drop the old ones. As this will not use public money, I hope more money will be directed to KEMH. Well, where's that more money going to come from, Michelle White? Again, question of the morning. Yes or no, audience? Are you in favor of the medical tourism facility in Bermuda? You can share your thoughts, like how do you feel about government's announcement? But yes or no, are you in favor? Just a yes or no. Anika DeShield says, I didn't think it would be ailments. I presumed it would be elective procedures. Who else could afford to recover in Bermuda? What will the malpractice insurance look like? I think I'm with Anika on this because, again, who are we targeting? I mean, Bermuda's not, I don't think it's the word's cheap, but we're not cost effective in that respect, right? So I think that question's valid. We've got, you all are coming with it this morning. Michelle White says, yes, but staffing will be our problem once the facility is built. Yeah, I think it's going to attract more people. Maybe this is the government's way of attracting more people to Bermuda. I mean, Bermuda needs more people, right? Maybe this is part of it. We need more nurses and doctors. Maybe this is part of the solution. We've got Anika DeShields. How will it benefit Bermuda overall beyond jobs? Valid question. I mean, well, if not just jobs, my thought to support, again, I'm not speaking for the government. I don't know the ins and outs. I know as much as you all who have read it. But when we get more people in the economy, that means that more people are spending money in it. So that's more people that will have utility bills. That's more people that are going to the grocery stores, right? I think that's how Bermuda benefits if there's more jobs where people come in. Yeah, I'm not trying to speak for them, folks. I'm just trying to be fair here. I hope that's clear. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, will KEMH become Bermuda's version of an indigent hospital, e.g. Grady Hospital in Atlanta, where those who can afford will go to this new entity and receive better care? Sheikha Rana says these facilities used to be about cosmetic procedures. Now they include diagnostic testing at competitive prices out of pocket. Okay, so they used to be cosmetic. Now diagnostics is included, Sheikha is saying. So there could be something, folks. There could be something. Rick Olson says no one in their right mind would come here for non-elective surgery, but a facelift maybe, unless you're on the USA stop list. Well, I think these are valid. Like, what's the selling point that Bermuda has over going to maybe, I don't want to call countries because that might be rude, but maybe South Central America or other places in the Caribbean? Like, what is our, it's like bringing business to Bermuda, right? Bringing a new IB company, a bank, insurance, reinsurance, captive. It's like bringing tourists to Bermuda, or groups, right? What is our, why? Like, why are people going to come? Do we know what that looks like? Suzanne Ingham says medical tourism is for rich people only. I don't know. I don't know if the people I've seen go down when I lived in South Florida, I saw quite a few people come back bandaged up from down south, and I don't think they were all rich, Suzanne. Maybe they had, some spirit change, but I don't know if they're all rich. I take your point, though. Anika DeShields' valid point. She says there's a global shortage of nurses. There should be medical scholarships for locals with guaranteed employment at this facility and BHB upon return. Well, I don't know what they currently do, but I think that definitely isn't a bad idea if it's not done already. But that's valid. There is definitely a shortage of nurses, and we're already struggling to attract nurses to Bermuda, based on what I've learned from some nurses themselves. So valid, very, very valid. Shigarena says people are flying to Turkey from the US for diagnostic testing because their insurance won't cover it in the US, and the out-of-pocket in the States is crazy, and it's a long way to Turkey. Tell me about it. I think the US health system is the absolute worst. But her point is Bermuda is much closer than Turkey. I just don't know how the cost would look. Shika, I don't know how the cost would look. Are you in favor? I'm going to say, you all, it may shock you, but I am in favor of the government finally looking into medical tourism. And I shouldn't say finally looking into it. I think they've been looking into it all this time, but I'm happy to see that a facility has been discussed and being pretty much given the go-ahead. My concerns lie in all the questions we had earlier. The economic and healthcare, like, is it economic versus healthcare priorities? Governance and accountability. Those are valid. I think we need a proper timeline and delivery. I think we need answers. But also, there's the other part. This is just a memorandum of understanding, an MoU. That's all this is. And if we go back to July 2017, why July 2017? Well, we're just going to go back as far as David Burt has been the premier of Bermuda. And I just want to read off a couple of MoUs. And if I'm wrong, folks, please correct me. But in 2018, I believe there was a MoU signed with Binance, Omega One, Shift, Medici Ventures. Well, should I tell you? Binance promised up to 10 million for training and 5 million investment in blockchain companies. Omega One promised to donate 10% of venture philanthropy to support community sporting clubs. Shift pledged up to 10 million in investments in education. Medici Ventures, I believe that's how you pronounce it, intended to create 30 jobs and use Bermuda as a blockchain laboratory. It's mixed results so far. Then there was the FinTech Accelerator, BC FinHigh BFS. Yeah. Didn't get off the ground. Then we had Deltec, Bank and Trust, International Group. That was in 2020. That was signed. Or in 2022 for digital asset insurance. I believe both of those have been terminated. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. There was an MoU signed with the Emirates Family Office Association in December 2023 with the aim of establishing a branch in Bermuda within 12 months. I think that's ongoing. I don't know if that's come to fruition. I know we signed something with Ghana regarding economic, trade, technical stuff in 2024. So one of those time will tell kind of things. We've got Daniel's Head with the cruise line. I think it's Norwegian. It's early stages, right? So we can't really say what's happening with that. But as far as what's come to fruition, some may actually progress. But I think it's important to understand that an MOU is not guaranteed. I believe these MOUs by the government were done in the best interest of Bermuda. I truly believe that. But some of them, many people predicted what the outcome would be before we got there. I would encourage everyone to continue to ask questions. I said this around the 2020 election, and I said it around the 2025 election. It's your duty to ask questions of your member of parliament or those who have sought or are seeking your vote, not just around election time. You've got to ask questions. What are your thoughts on the new tourism medical facility that government announced? We've got Nika D. Shields says people from Bermuda go to South Central America for dental and cosmetic procedures because it is less expensive. Yeah. Dwayne P. Santucci says we need an advanced mental facility, so that our politicians have a updated mental hospital they can be admitted to, and Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci can be treated. Oh my. Well, it's a good thing we have that disclaimer before the show. Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, I believe their current plan is to provide more cosmetic services. However, we all know that plans change when the initial plan isn't working. Look at Bermuda. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's a perfect example, Bermuda. Perfect example, Charles. Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, who will be responsible for marketing this new entity? BTA, BHB, the entity itself? There are a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions. Where does it fall? We've got Mia Chambray over on Instagram asking, will it be more, is it cosmetic hospital for things like facelift, boob jobs, or hair transplants? If so, I'd be interested to hear more. Yeah, I mean, maybe the absent Minister of Health can answer some of these questions. I'd love to hear her absence explained, though, because is this more of a finance thing or is it more of a health thing? Is the audience this morning correct in saying that this is more cosmetic, elective, or like, I think people have questions about the facility. Or is it up to the people to go and look up what MCCM has done in other jurisdictions? Is it on us? Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, oh, we read that already, sorry. Suzanne Ingham says, that was awesome. Yes, those you mentioned definitely need their head fixed, then put them in jail. Okay, well, not so nice this morning. Folks, what else? Just a yes or no, we'll wrap it up. Yes or no, do you agree with a medical facility in Bermuda? Do you agree with a medical tourism facility in Bermuda? Just yes or no. And don't be afraid to say yes or no. No one's going to jump down your throat. I am in favor of it. I've said that. I don't think my question, let me say I'm somewhat in favor. I'm not going to say I'm all the way in favor. I'm somewhat in favor, but I have a lot of questions. But am I in favor of a medical tourism facility in Bermuda? At this point in time, the answer, in the words of the great music soul child, is yes. Traveling Trotty says yes, in favor. Shika Reyna says yes, in favor. Charles H. Jeffers II, the Minister of Health and the Minister of Tourism, were absent for the medical tourism announcement. Well, I didn't see, folks, maybe they were there. But I definitely, it looked, based on what I read from our good friends at the Royal Gazette, it said that Premier Burt was flanked by the Junior Minister of Finance, Wayne Furbert, Lou Maroon from MCCM, Michael Warren from MCCM, and Scott Pierman the chief executive of Bermuda Hospitals Board. So there was no mention of the Minister of Health nor the Minister of Tourism. So if it's a medical tourism facility, I think we're right to ask why were the Minister of Health and Minister of Tourism not present? I think that's a valid question. But again, yes or no, are you in favor of a medical tourism facility in Bermuda? Donna Hall says no, I don't think it's a priority right now. Okay. And James Burgess says yes. Okay, so it seems like the majority are in favor of a medical tourism facility in Bermuda, based on you all's responses this morning. So I think you agree that, medical tourism should be considered. Again, I'm a yes, but I still have a lot of questions. Who's going to be building it? Who are the jobs going to go to? Is it cosmetic? Who's going to be responsible for marketing it? What kind of concessions did they receive? Does it come with training Bermudians? Holly Rich says, not sure at this point, but leaning to yes. Suzanne Ingham says no. Okay. All right. Got to know. All right, folks. We're going to take a final break. In the meantime, folks, if you haven't already, do us a big favor. If you haven't, and you're streaming, if you are streaming on Facebook, if you are streaming on LinkedIn, if you are streaming on YouTube, if you are streaming on Twitter X, if you are streaming on Instagram, do us a big favor. Give us a like, love, follow, subscribe, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Just ensure that everyone you know has access to these most important community conversations as possible. We're going to take our final break, come back, and we'll have the daily play and we'll wrap it up. But thank you so much for rocking with us today. Stick with us.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Friesenbrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
All right, folks, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here. Thanks to every last one of you for rocking with us today. I just want to, if you haven't already, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Big up and thanks to BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSB for Bermuda, for ensuring that we can prompt through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversation. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Okay, it's a remember when. Not Bermuda related, but I'm sure you will get it. China resumed sovereignty over Hong Kong in what year? All right, at the buzzer, Jewel Leave, 1997. At the buzzer. Man, that would have sent the crowd crazy in the NBA. At the buzzer. Yeah, we appreciate it. Julie, it was 1997. 1997. Hong Kong returned under China. Yes. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up, folks. I think that this conversation is one of those where information is necessary and it's needed. I think that the government, for the most part, people seem to support the idea. But those who don't have extremely valid reasons. They have extremely valid reasons. And I hope that the government is humble enough to maybe have a town hall or two, or just continue discussing and sharing the information with the general public. Because I think that medical tourism is long overdue for Bermuda. But I think people have valid questions as to how does it work for Bermuda? What does it look like? And also, is this just another MoU? I think the questions are valid. So I hope that the government can be transparent as they move forward with this, with Bermuda and Bermudians. Real quickly, big shout out to Bermuda Institute. Students returned to school yesterday. BI students returned for the new school year yesterday. So all the best to the educators, the staff and faculty at Bermuda Institute, and wishing all the students a great school year up there. Also, I dragged Sherry out to the game with me on Saturday to watch Bermuda. And I must say, man, I'm gonna talk about it because she's not here. She is a grumpy co-pilot. You know, she told me, "Oh, you do drive like a grandpa." I'm like, Sherry, the speed limit's 70. I'm going over. Oh, well, they don't have to, and people are passing. Look, all those people who pass me on the highway, folks, they're not paying my fines if I get pulled over speeding. So you could pass me all you want, and I don't care. You could get up all behind me and try to. I was not in the fast lane. So that said, I appreciate those who ride with me and appreciate getting to their destination safely and on time. Sharon's going to have to pay the next time she gets in my car. All righty. Anika the Shield says, can we get stats on MOUs that are still in progress or have actually come to fruition? So the ones since 2017, fintech deals, Binance, Medici, and Shift, some progress. MayPay Limited, a healthcare tech firm, remains active and aligned with its MOU. Other ventures either fared poorly or were terminated. For fintech accelerator and Deltec related MOUs, none fully realized. Both initiatives either failed to launch or were terminated. Family Office, Ghana, UAE, Daniels Head, and Medical Tourism, all are recent with work ongoing or in early planning stages. No conclusive evidence yet indicates successful implementation. Let me know if that works. So basically, MOUs signed since 2017, they're probably approximately, based on what I've been able to find, 8 major instances. And it's really too early to tell how many of the others will come to fruition because they're all currently, in progress. All right, folks. Let me give you some daily inspiration. Look, we've had a devastating week last week, and I just want to leave you with this. If you're unhappy with the state of your community, please note that a community is a reflection of the majority of its people. Do something about it. Audience, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. Folks, do us a favor, it costs you nothing. It costs you nothing. If you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, give us that like, love, follow, and share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.